Yes. See now problem number 2. Till now we have discussed first problem and formulas. Now problem number 2 we will discuss. See this. Following is the summarized balance sheet of XYZ Limited as on 31st March 2019. So now asset side there are various informations given. So one by one we need to categorize those information. So first one, goodwill. If you see goodwill is intangible asset. Then building is fixed asset. Machinery, fixed asset. Furniture, fixed asset. Stock, that is stock is nothing but closing stock, current asset. Stock is also known as inventory, current asset. Debtor, it is current asset. Bank, current asset. Preliminary expenses is what? It is fictitious expenses or fictitious asset, you can say. Preliminary expenses is a fictitious asset. Now liability side if you see, equity share capital is 1,25,000. That is nothing but shareholders fund. Equity shareholders fund. 6% preference share. So now 6% preference share, if you see, that is nothing but preference shareholders fund, as well as it comes under shareholders fund. Next, general reserve. Again, it is a shareholders fund. Profit and loss account, shareholders fund. 5% debenture. What about 5% debenture? It is a long-term debt. You can say it is a fixed interest bearing fund, or it is a long-term debt, 5% debenture. Now next thing is bills payable. Bills payable is nothing but it is current liability. Similarly, there is a creditor. Creditor, again, it is a current liability. These two together, it is known as accounts payable. Bills payable plus creditor, together it is known as accounts payable. So now additional information is given to this question. See this, what is that additional information? First one, total sales, that is 2 lakh. Total sales 2 lakh, of which 20% made on credit. That means out of these 2 lakh rupees, 20% is credit, 80% is cash. But we want a total sale, that's it. So that is of no use other information. So total sale directly given in the question. Next thing is about gross profit. Gross profit is mentioned. So gross profit amounted to 40,000 directly given in the question. Next, net profit. Net profit is also given in the question, that is 10,000. You are required now to calculate following ratio. One by one ratios you need to calculate. First one, current ratio you need to calculate. Second one, liquid ratio. Third one, debt equity ratio. Fourth one, gross profit ratio. Fifth one, net profit ratio. Sixth one, capital gearing ratio. So now, before solving this problem, we have categorized all the things. Now, we need to remember some of the formulas. Whatever the ratio asked in the question, we need to know the formulas of that ratio. So we'll see the calculation part now. Answer to this question now. First one is current ratio. What is the formula for current ratio? Current asset divided by current liability into 100. That is the formula for current ratio. Current asset divided by current liability into 100. Now, if you see the question, what and all comes under current asset? Can anyone tell me here what and all comes under current asset here? Asset side you need to look at here. Asset side, if you look at, there are only 3 information that you can consider under current asset. What are these 3 information? One is stock, one is debtor, and one more thing is bank. So add these 3 things. Add these 3 things and write it under current asset. That's it. 45,000 plus 10,500 plus 2,500. Same thing is written here. See this, 45,000 plus 10,500 plus 2,500. That is nothing but stock, debtor and bank, divided by current liabilities. Now current liabilities, if you see the question, only two information. One is bills payable, second one is creditor. So add these two things, 6,000 plus 14,000. 6,000 plus 14,000, write it in the denominator. We have written it here. So amount, now what happens? Now numerator total is 58,000, denominator total is 20,000 multiplied with 100. So you will get current ratio as 290%. So this is in terms of percentage. So if you want to write in terms of ratio, then how you will write the ratio? Can anyone tell me? 290%, how you can show in terms of ratio? Can you comment in the chat box here? How you can show this in terms of ratio? Percentage is 290%. Answer. We have just now calculated this current ratio answer 290%. Can you show it in terms of ratio in the comment box? So it is not compulsory that you have to show that in terms of ratio. Percentage is also fine. Percentage or ratio, anything is feasible here. So now 290% means divided by 100 you have to do. Whatever the percentage answer, divided by 100. So what is the answer now? 290 divided by 100. If you do, what you will get here? 2.9. So 2.9 you will get. So ratio, in terms of ratio, answer is 2.9:1. That's it. 2.9:1. First you have to write the answer you got after dividing by 100 and /1. That is your answer. So if you have time, then you can do that. In terms of ratio also you can write, or else percentage is well and good. That is regarding current ratio. Second one is liquid ratio. So now formula for liquid ratio we know. Liquid asset divided by liquid liability into 100. So if you see here, liquid asset. So what are the liquid asset here? Given in the question, if you see the liquid asset, can you tell me the liquid asset? Liquid asset is equal to current asset we know. Out of these three things, which one we should exclude? I have blocked it. Can you see the screen? Which one we should exclude here? Liquid asset. Can you comment in the chat box? Liquid asset formula. Liquid asset formula. Can you comment in the chat box? What is the formula for liquid asset? Formula for liquid asset. Can anyone tell me? We have discussed this. Liquid asset formula. So liquid asset is equal to current asset minus stock minus prepaid expenses. If you see in this question, there is stock. So either you can ignore the stock and write only these two information, debtor and bank, or else you can consider current asset total, then you can minus the stock. Anyway, you can do. So what we are going to do, we can do it directly. We know that stock is not a liquid asset, so only two information, debtor and bank. So what is the total of debtor and bank? 10,500 plus 2,500. So same thing is written here. Liquid ratio is equal to liquid asset divided by liquid liability into 100. So liquid asset is 10,500 plus 2,500. Now liquid liability. So now formula for liquid liability is what? Formula for liquid liability we have discussed in the previous problem. Can anyone tell me? Liquid liability is equal to, what is the formula? Liquid liability is equal to, yes, there are almost 20 people. Can anyone tell me? Liquid liability formula. Comment in the chat box or unmute yourself and answer. Liquid liability. What is the formula for liquid liability? Liquid liability, Pramod. Yes, current liability minus bank overdraft. That is exactly 100% correct answer. So formula for liquid liability is current liability minus bank overdraft. Since in the question bank overdraft is not given, liquid liability is equal to current liability. It is very simple. Whatever the answer for current liability, that is itself is the answer for liquid liability. So just you need to write bills payable 6,000 plus creditor 14,000. Same thing we have written here. Liquid liability in the denominator 6,000 plus 14,000. So now liquid ratio answer, that is 13,000 divided by 20,000 into 100, that is 65%. In terms of percentage, it is 65%. In terms of ratio, if you want to show 65 divided by 100, 0.65 is to 1. Answer is 0.65 is to 1 or else 65%. That is regarding liquid ratio. Now, third one is a debt equity ratio. Third thing they have asked you to calculate debt equity ratio. Formula for debt equity ratio is long term debt, or you can say debt divided by equity. Debt means what? Long term debt. Equity means what? Shareholders fund. Long term debt divided by shareholders fund into 100, you will get a debt equity ratio. So now long term debt we want to see from the question. What is the long term debt here? If you see the liability side, current liability is bills payable and creditor. So only one information is a long term debt, that is 5% debenture is a long term debt. So that is 50,000. So directly a long term debt in the numerator you have to write 50,000. Next we want shareholders fund divided by equity means shareholders fund we want. So shareholders fund, what and all comes? All these four information. Equity share capital, 6% preference share capital, general reserve and profit and loss account. Same thing we need to write here. We need to substitute. See this? Now long term debt, that is debenture only. We have written 50,000 in the numerator divided by shareholders fund, equity share capital, preference share capital, reserves and surplus, profit and loss account minus. What we need to minus? Minus fictitious asset. Here fictitious asset, if you see asset side, only one information, that is preliminary expenses. Preliminary expenses, fictitious asset. If you see the formula, you have deduct that fictitious asset. So from the shareholders fund. So we have deducted that 2,000 from shareholders fund. So finally, what is the answer we are going to get here? See this, 50,000 divided by 2,15,500 into 100. 2,15,500, how we got? Just you need to add and deduct 2,000. You will get 2,15,500 into 100. Answer is 23.20%. In terms of ratio, 0.23 is to 1. 0.23 is to 1. So that is regarding debt equity ratio. Now fourth one is gross profit ratio. Fourth one, gross profit ratio. Formula we know, gross profit divided by net sales into 100. Very simple. Gross profit divided by net sales into 100. So gross profit information is given in the adjustment. See this information is given in the adjustment, 40,000. So in the numerator write 40,000. Now denominator we want a net sale. Net sale means sales minus sales return. So we know that total sale itself is a net sale. So that is a 2 lakh. So answer 40,000 divided by 2 lakh we want. See this now, gross profit divided by net sale into 100, 40,000 divided by 2 lakh directly from the adjustment into 100. Gross profit ratio answer is 20%. That is this one, question number 4, whatever they have asked. Now fifth one, they have asked you to calculate net profit ratio. Net profit ratio, what is the formula? Net profit after tax. Net profit after tax divided by net sales into 100. So net profit after tax, where it is given? It is given in the adjustment. If you see the adjustment, net profit after tax is 10,000. It is given. Directly you need to substitute that amount in the numerator divided by net sales, that we know that is nothing but total sales, cash plus credit sale, total sale 2 lakhs. So that is in the denominator. So answer here, net profit ratio, net profit after tax divided by net sales into 100, 10,000 divided by 2 lakh into 100. Answer is 5%. That is net profit ratio. Finally, last thing you need to calculate here, capital gearing ratio. Capital gearing ratio, if you see, formula is fixed interest bearing fund divided by equity shareholders fund into 100. So fixed interest bearing fund, if you see the question, if you see the liability side, only two information which gives you the fixed interest. What are those information? By seeing the liability side, can anyone tell me what are those fixed interest bearing fund given in the question? Can you comment in the chat box? Fixed interest bearing fund, the information given in the liability side of the balance sheet. Only two information is there. Fixed interest bearing fund. Can anyone tell me here? You need to give the answer. So if you know, you need to tell. So you need to comment in the chat box. So can you comment in the chat box here? Fixed interest bearing fund. Only two information. What are those? Liability side of the balance sheet. One is preference share capital. One is preference share capital. It requires to give dividend to the shareholder. So it is a fixed interest bearing fund. Second one, if you see, that is 5% debenture. So that is also debenture holder will get the interest. So preference shares, that is 75,000 plus debenture 50,000. That's it. Only two information you need to substitute in the formula. Fixed interest bearing fund, we have written, see this 75,000 plus 50,000 divided by, now divided by equity shareholders fund. So now what and all things are given to the equity shareholder? See, this is total first four information: equity share, preference share, general reserve, profit and loss account. These are shareholders fund. Now we want a specific shareholders fund. Specific shareholders fund means equity shareholders fund we want. That means you should ignore preference share capital. Preference share capital you should ignore. Remaining all the things. That is nothing but equity share capital 1,25,000, general reserve 10,000, profit and loss account 7,500. Three information you have to write in the denominator. See this, we have written capital, general reserve and P&L account, equity shareholder fund into 100. So now final answer is 1,25,000 divided by 1,42,500 into 100. So answer is 87.72%. So this is how you are going to solve this type of problem. So any doubt in this problem? Have you all understood? Any doubt regarding this problem? Problem number 2. No. Pramod, yes. What about others? What about others? Have you all understood this problem? Problem number 2. Yes. Akamsha, yes. Swati, yes. I hope everyone understood. Yes. So now let us move on to next problem. Yes. Now next problem we need to see. Just you need to remember the formula. That's it. So problem number 3 now. Problem number 3. If you see here, yes. See this. Small problem. The previous problem is for 12 mark. Now this is a small problem regarding 6 marks. See this. From the following balance sheet of Raman Limited, calculate current ratio, debt equity ratio, proprietary ratio. You need to calculate only three information. So now current ratio formula we know, debt equity formula also we know, proprietary ratio formula also we have discussed. So now asset side one by one information we need to see. Fixed asset directly given, so there is no confusion. Stock is what? Current asset. Debtor, current asset. Cash, current asset. That's it. So now liability side, share capital, that is shareholder fund. Reserves and surplus, shareholders fund. Secured loan long term. They have asked you secured loan long term. What you can say, it is a debt. It is a debt, that too long term debt. Then the next is a creditor. Creditor is nothing but current liability. That's it. We have categorized all the items, asset and liability side. Now we need to solve the problem. So now first thing is current ratio. Current ratio is equal to, formula we know, current asset divided by current liability into 100. So now if you see the question, asset side only three information is current asset, excluding fixed asset. Stock, debtor, cash, add all these three information. 90,000 plus 1,05,000 plus 15,000. Same thing we have written here in the numerator by seeing the question. So we have written all the three information in the numerator. Now denominator, current liability. Only one information here, current liability, creditor. So that creditor information we need to write in the denominator. Just you need to calculate the ratio. 2,10,000 divided by 90,000 into 100. Answer is 233.33%. Or else you can write that is 2.33:1. That is nothing but how you got 2.33:1. 233 divided by 100 you will get 2.33:1. In terms of ratio also you can express. That is regarding current ratio. Next thing they have asked you to calculate debt equity ratio. So now debt equity ratio, if you see, what is the formula for debt equity ratio? Long term debt divided by shareholders fund into 100. If you see the question here, long term debt, only one information that was specified given in the question. Secured loan is a long term. So that is a long term debt. So 2,10,000 you need to write in the numerator, long term debt divided by shareholders fund. Shareholders fund means only two information, share capital plus reserves and surplus. So these two information, 1,80,000 plus 1,20,000, you need to write in the denominator. So same we have written here. See this debt equity ratio, long term debt divided by shareholders fund into 100. 2,10,000 divided by 1,80,000 plus 1,20,000 into 100, you will get 70%. That is nothing but 2,10,000 divided by 3 lakh into 100, you will get 70%. Last thing, you need to calculate propriety ratio. So propriety ratio formula we need to see, that is shareholders fund divided by total tangible asset into 100. So now shareholders fund in this question, if you see the question, shareholders fund, what is given here? Only two information, that is share capital plus reserves and surplus. So add both and write it in the numerator. 1,80,000 plus 1,20,000 we need to write in the numerator. See, we have written shareholders fund divided by total tangible asset. Total tangible asset means what? All the asset excluding goodwill and intangible asset and fictitious asset. So if you see asset side, current asset plus fixed asset, all are tangible asset. All can be seen, all can be felt, or all can be touched. So that is why you need to write the total of tangible asset. That is nothing but balance sheet total, that is 6 lakh. Same thing you need to write in the denominator, and just you need to find out the ratio. Proprietary ratio, answer is 50%. Any doubt here? Any doubt in this question? Small question for 6 mark. Yes. Have you all understood this question? Any doubt in this one? Pramod? Yes. Swati? Yes. I hope others also understood this question. Very small question. Only 3 calculation. Just you need to apply the formula. Yes, Shifa. You need to apply the formula and you need to just substitute the amounts in the formula. That's it. So now next thing comes is problem number 4. Problem number 4, if you see here, let us discuss the problem number 4. See this. So I have already told you this is a very small chapter because only same type of question is asked repeatedly in the examination, and you need to just remember the formulas. That's it. So it is very easy to score in this chapter. So now problem number 4, if you see here, from the following, you are required to calculate all the following ratios. See this, first one is gross profit ratio you need to calculate, net profit ratio you need to calculate, stock turnover ratio, current ratio, liquid ratio, proprietary ratio. So this is 12 mark question. Whenever they ask you 6 items to calculate, it is a 12 mark question. If it is 3 items, it is 6 mark question. And for 24 marks, sometimes they ask you all the 12 ratio. Very rare. That is 24 mark question. So now, if you see sale information given, no problem. Sale information is given. Next, cost of sale is also given. Sale is there. Cost of sale is there. So can you find the gross profit here? Can you find gross profit with the help of these two information? Can anyone tell me? Sale and cost of sale is given. That means when we sell the asset, whatever the amount we got minus what is the actual cost of production. So can you get the gross profit here? Very simple here. Gross profit how to calculate? So that is sale minus cost of sale. If you do, you will get gross profit. Next, net profit is given, so no problem. So next, inventory. Inventory means what here? Inventory means closing stock. Since it is not specified, we'll assume that it is a closing stock. Then other current asset specifically mentioned. Other current asset specifically given. Fixed asset directly given. Net worth. Now next, very important here, net worth. Net worth is 15 lakh. So what do you mean by net worth? Net worth is nothing but, can you tell me what is a net worth here? Net worth is nothing but shareholders fund. Indirectly they have given you net worth. So it is nothing but shareholders fund minus fictitious asset. So very simple, net worth. Debt directly given, debt 9 lakh. Current liability, that is 6 lakh. All this information is given. Now one by one we need to calculate the ratios. So first what they have asked you, gross profit ratio. So first we are going to calculate gross profit. So gross profit ratio formula we know, that is gross profit divided by net sale into 100. First we want gross profit, but anywhere whether they have mentioned gross profit in the question, they have not given you gross profit in the question. That is why you need to calculate a gross profit. So what is the general formula for gross profit? Gross profit formula is sale minus COGS. Sale minus COGS. That is nothing but sale minus cost of goods sold. So in this question they have given you cost of sale. That is nothing but cost of goods sold. So both are same. Cost of sale is also one and the same. Cost of goods sold is also one and the same. So now GP, we want GP, gross profit ratio. So gross profit you can very easily calculate. See this, gross profit is equal to sale minus cost of sale, or else you can say sale minus cost of goods sold. So here sale information is directly given in the question, 25 lakh 20,000. Same you are going to write here, 25 lakh 20 minus cost of sale. Cost of sale is 19 lakh 20. That 19 lakh 20 you need to write here, and you need to find the difference. Difference is gross profit. That is 6 lakh. 6 lakh is a gross profit. So just substitute that in the formula. 6 lakh divided by net sales, we know that is given in the question. 25 lakh 20,000. So same 25 lakh 20,000 in the denominator into 100. So now answer is 6 lakh divided by 25 lakh 20,000 into 100. That is 23.81%. See this. 23.81%, or else you can show divided by 100 you will get 0.2381, or else 0.24 you can do round off to 1. Like that also you can show. Any one method you can show. That is gross profit ratio. Next thing they have asked you, net profit ratio. So now net profit ratio for net profit after tax. Net profit after tax divided by net sales into 100. So here net profit after tax is given. Since they have not mentioned directly, we will assume that it is after tax. Net profit, that is 3,60,000. 3,60,000 you need to write in the numerator. Then what we want, net sale. So sale is given, so you need to write it in the denominator. That's it. Profit in the numerator, sale in the denominator. Just you need to substitute the amount, you will get a net profit ratio. Very simple. Net profit after tax divided by net sales into 100. That is nothing but 3,60,000 divided by 25,20,000 into 100. Answer is 14.29% or 0.14:1. So that is regarding net profit ratio. Now after this, what they have asked you to calculate. Third one is stock turnover ratio. Now they have asked you to calculate stock turnover ratio. It is also known as inventory turnover ratio. Inventory turnover ratio is also same. Stock turnover ratio is also same. So there are various different names are there for one particular ratio. So now formula for stock turnover ratio or inventory turnover ratio we want. So can you tell me the formula here for stock turnover ratio? It is COGS. So that is cost of goods sold divided by cost of goods sold divided by average stock into 100. You will get what? You will get this inventory turnover ratio. See this, cost of goods sold divided by average stock into 100. Now cost of goods sold is given in the question. So that is nothing but cost of sale. Cost of sale we know that is 19,20,000. That itself is the cost of goods sold. 19,20,000 you need to write in the numerator. Divided by they want average stock. Average stock is not given in the question. Since only inventory they have mentioned, we'll assume that closing stock is given in the question. Closing stock is equal to inventory. So closing stock is given in the question. Opening stock is not available. So inventory itself is the average stock. Very simple. Inventory itself is the average stock since there is no other information available. So what we are going to do here, inventory turnover ratio or stock turnover ratio. If you see the formula here, cost of goods sold divided by average stock into 100. So that is nothing but 19,20,000 that we have given in the question. Cost of sale divided by average stock, that is nothing but inventory into 100. Answer is 240%. Or else you can write 2.4:1. So here note, average inventory is taken as average stock. So that is regarding inventory turnover ratio or stock turnover ratio. Now fourth ratio you need to calculate is a current ratio. So now current ratio formula we know, current asset divided by current liability. So current asset, by seeing the question directly they have mentioned you current asset. If you see here, other current asset they have given you 7,20,000. What about inventory? Inventory is nothing but closing stock. That is also a current asset. Closing stock is nothing but just stock also you can say. So that is also a current asset. So current asset is nothing but these two information. Inventory plus other current asset. 8 lakh plus 7,60,000. Same thing you are going to write in the numerator now. Current ratio numerator. See this, 8 lakh plus 7,60,000 divided by current liability. Current liability, if you see here in the question, what they have given you current liability, directly they have mentioned current liability, no problem at all. 6 lakh you need to write in the denominator. Denominator 6 lakh. So we'll substitute in the formula of current ratio. Current asset divided by current liability into 100. Current asset we have taken inventory as well as other current asset divided by current liability we have taken directly from the question. So answer is 15,60,000 divided by 6 lakh into 100. Answer is 260%, or you can say 2.6:1. So this is regarding current ratio. Now next thing comes is liquid ratio. What about liquid ratio? Formula for liquid ratio is liquid asset divided by liquid liability into 100. Liquid asset means what? Current asset minus stock minus prepaid expenses. So here liquid asset means, if you see the question, you need to understand here only other current asset. Only other current asset you need to take in the numerator. Why? Because inventory is a stock. Stock doesn't come under liquid asset. That is why only other current asset in the numerator divided by liquid liability. Liquid liability is equal to current liability minus bank overdraft. Bank overdraft is not there. Directly current liability you can write 6 lakh. So same thing we need to substitute in the formula here. Liquid ratio. Liquid asset divided by liquid liability into 100. 7,60,000 divided by 6 lakh into 100. That is 1,26.67%, or else 1.27:1. That is your answer. Now last thing you need to calculate here, proprietary ratio. Sixth one is a proprietary ratio. Formula for proprietary ratio is shareholders fund divided by total tangible assets into 100. So shareholders fund, whether the information is given in the question, shareholders fund. If you see shareholder fund information is not given in the question, but net worth information is given. So I have already told you net worth itself is a shareholder fund. So net worth is equal to shareholder fund. In the numerator you write 15 lakh as a shareholder fund divided by total tangible asset they want. So total tangible asset means all the asset given in the question. What are the assets mentioned in the question? Inventory, it is also asset. The stock is asset. and other current asset is also tangible asset, fixed asset is also tangible asset. So all these three things you need to write. 8 lakh plus inventory is 8 lakh, 8 lakh plus other current asset 7 lakh 60,000 plus fixed asset 14 lakh 40,000. So same thing you need to substitute in the last formula, that is regarding proprietary ratio. If you see, shareholders fund divided by total tangible assets into 100. Shareholder fund is nothing but net worth 15 lakh divided by total tangible asset, that is other current asset, inventory plus fixed asset into 100. So now that is nothing but 15 lakh divided by 30 lakh into 100. Final answer 50% or 0.5:1. So you can give a note here. Net worth is equal to all type of capital. It includes equity share capital as well as preference share capital and accumulated profit and reserve. That is nothing but general reserve and profit and loss account minus any losses given in the question minus fictitious asset. That is net worth. So this is how you are going to solve this problem. Any doubt in this one? Any doubt?